What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So before I jump into the video, just wanted to say a shout out and say thank you to all of you that have been participating in the channel, commenting, and all of the above. You guys are probably the most active community on a specific video game that I've come in contact with, especially at this time frame when the game hasn't even really released. Can you imagine how much anticipation you guys have had for all these years, and even myself? And so I just want to thank you guys for just engaging in the content. So a few days ago, I made a video where I talked about a very small sample poll that was done by one of our community members on Twitter. It had only 100 participants. And one of the really cool things about it is the participants seem to have wanted that there will be a demo for the game. Now, the split between this particular poll was around the 70-something, 30-something percent. So I talked about it, and one of my other audience members kind of challenged me to I don't know what it was, and said, why am I talking about the data? It only represented a sample size of 100 votes. And I said to him and said, I don't know if you know, but this trend will probably continue if we were to have a larger sample size. And, they said, well, that's not possible, or something along the lines of that. So I decided, well, why not replicate the poll here on YouTube on this channel and see what the results are. Now, this is not to say that we definitely need a demo or whatever it is. I don't really care at the end of the day. If they're going to give us a demo, then they're going to give us a demo. It's no big deal. I just wanted to go ahead and just test out the theory and see where people actually did stand. And my hypotheses seem to have leaned towards what the audience is voting towards. So we'll take a very close look at this poll, and we're also going to be looking at, say, potentially what other people think in regard to the comments. So I went ahead and, replicated the poll, and I said, do you think Gotham Knights needs a demo? And 77% of you said yes out of 2,400 votes, and 23% said no. But one thing that you have to also pay attention to is the comments. A lot of people pretty much, are commenting on exactly what it is that they want to see or why they voted yay or nay. So someone said this: I feel that I'll love a demo, but with the game coming out so soon, I would think it'll be extra unnecessary work for the crew, rather than focus their energy on providing us the best experience post-launch. I agree. Nothing wrong with that. We've already seen a lot of the game. Yes, game feel will really change things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the game is not going to still be what it's going to be. Available to the public, Immortal Glory Games says this. Yes, I personally think that demos for all up-and-coming games should be mandatory. Yes, I think PlayStation is going to be implementing that with one of their subscription services. But, back in the day, we used to get demos, so it seems not necessarily out of the question for teams to at least consider putting this out there, because it's a sample of their product of some kind, because this is a digital product. If you guys think about the way digital products work, you can usually download apps and test them out, or get maybe some kind of a freebie version that gives you a sample of what the app is able to do. So Hudson Walker here says, I'm not sold on the fact that it's completely necessary, but for me, I've been so optimistic and excited for this game. I just love to get my hands on it a little sooner just to see how it feels. And like I said, game feel is the biggest thing so far. Even though I feel I'm going to love it regardless, that's actually a very solid point. Archie Zeph said, it would be nice to get a glimpse of how the game feels and look, but it could potentially drop sales. So it's probably not a good idea on their end, because they need all the money they can get from this project. I'm really surprised there isn't any microtransactions. To be honest, I didn't expect that. You see, this comment alone, I almost did an entire video just highlighting this. As just the fact that, you were shocked that there were no microtransactions is by itself very interesting, because all of this while, the way we saw the game first release, we thought that this game was probably going to have some level of microtransactions attached to it. It wasn't out of the question that at some point you probably start to see maybe skins and all kinds of things pop up in a store. And honestly, I don't expect that, those will not happen. But so far, for the base game that you're seeing right here, the deluxe edition and all whatever it is, yes, there are some elements of microtransaction if we're going to be very technical and thorough about it, but it doesn't really seem like it's something that would affect the game significantly, where you're grinding towards getting these items, that are transactional, or they give you an option where you can just make a financial purchase of those items directly. So that's also another really good thing about the way the game is structured. And so it is quite surprising, yes. Now, I think maybe, and this is a hypothesis, that the game possibly wanted to implement microtransactions. I don't know, and I'm just making a hypothesis. I'm not saying anything bad about, the devs or their, philosophy and design. But I think maybe as everybody saw the way Avengers turned out, man, it seemed like nobody wanted to touch that hot potato and do superhero game with microtransactional aspects to it. So let's keep going down and reading a few more comments. David Simmons says, I don't need it. I don't think it needs it one per se. I don't think it needs one per se, sorry. But given that no one has gotten hands-on time with it, it will be nice to see how the game feels to play. Hey, this is a very, very, very interesting take. I haven't paid close attention, but remember when we first saw some gameplay from IGN, and especially this particular gameplay that we are seeing here, one of the first things that, a lot of us found out later on was it wasn't even the IGN people that were playing the game. It was actually a developer from Warner Brothers Games Montreal, and IGN had not gotten their hands on the game. There will be previews, I'm guessing, and this is where we're going to be able to get more details. But it's interesting because, yes, as no one has gotten their hands on the game, then I strongly believe that, a demo or a slice of the game will probably be valuable at this point. But if we see how the hands-on goes, if we see how reviewers, evaluate the game, that could also inform a lot of us on, say specific things like mechanics and all of the above. Now, another comment here from our community, King Gamer, says, I don't think it needs one, but it'll be fun to get one, even just to get a feel for the controls and character before diving in when it releases. I agree. It is not necessary, says Joe Arnold, but it'd definitely be cool. If any game company did this, we shouldn't get. Why shouldn't we get to see if we like something for 10 minutes and then decide if it's worth buying? I mean, I could go on and on and on and on, but it seems overall the sentiment, kind of is shared across the votes and across the comments because, for different reasons, we here in the community are, in a sense, looking forward to the game. But at the end of the day, I didn't see any comment that was hard, fast saying, oh, a demo is going to change my mind at this point. I mean, there might have been one, perhaps, or two. I did another poll on Twitter, too, with it. And that poll did not have many people vote. For some reason, you guys know I'm kind of new to Twitter. For those of you who don't know, it took some of you in this community to actually get me to go on Twitter. I mean, it wasn't the most, it wasn't the most optimal thing for me in my mind anyways. But we can go ahead and look at the, the Twitter one just to be fair overall, because that one does have slightly different results. And over here on Twitter, I think there were only 94 votes, which is, I think, indicative. My Twitter presence is not really big. So you can see that there's a 37% nay and 62% yay. And so that data is also kind of strange. If we wanted to maybe like throw them all together, it would probably bring that 77% down a little bit and get much closer to the original video that I cited. And then we can also look at comments here. So Titan Gamer HD, this is one of my, biggest audience members. Shout out, bro. And, Titan Gamer says, I don't know. It depends on what the devs want. That's also a very valid aspect, something that you have to think about. Red Hood 2008 says, yes, then I can know if my computer can run it. Just saying, I get it. They're going to be releasing PC requirements. And, once they do that, we're going to be able to kind of do a neck and neck comparison in a sense. Kevin Ball says, I don't think it needs one, but I want one. Tim Drake says, would it be nice? Yes. Is it required for the game to sell? No. Okay. I agree. I mean, once you know what you're getting into, and once you've already played the game, it will probably not be something that changes your mind too much. But there is the aspect, though, that some people might, get some kind of they might be convinced, but I don't think that's a lot of people at this point. Someone says, I like one. Mythic Leader says, I like one because I really just want to get a feel for the game and see how it feels. First 15 minutes or so will be great. I can do what I want. Okay. Red Hood says, nope, not at all. Seen enough to warrant a pre-order and can wait to play it on October 21st. I think most of us are on this position right here. Gotham Knight 69 says, it should be those first 16 minutes we saw at the start of August, and gives us the opinion for each character and gives us a feel for the game. I agree with a lot of these sentiments, and I'm really interested. It's really interesting, anyways, to have seen that a lot of people are on board in some sense. Some people are like, no, and most of the no's are like, at this point, it doesn't matter to me. I'm hopping into the game, or at this point, it may affect sales or it may affect opinions. It'd be good for a kind of a fresh take in terms of handling and all of the above. So we'll see how the developers go about it. They seem to be very secretive about the game. Game's 1 month out. Usually the way this is done for video games like these that will probably have maybe a 30-hour gameplay progression, they will send out review codes about a week or so before the game releases. And so this is where you're going to eventually have the big channels do their reviews and all of the above. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this game gets reviewed. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to analyze their reviews, and some of the reviewers I actually have known from the past. Some of you may or may not know SkillUp used to make the Division content when I started YouTube. I used to make the Division content as well before he eventually backed out and then decided, based on time and some of the issues in his life at that time. I think he had just recently gotten married and had a new job before he eventually quit and went YouTube full time. He was going to go ahead and start doing more widespread content. A very smart decision on his part. But we'll talk about this a little bit more in other videos. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon.